The third and last step of the process is the post-exit. And here are some thoughts to ensure a successful sailing into the sunset for a business owner. So Scott, how might business owners plan for life after the business exit?
Well, first and foremost is really looking at and planning out what the cash flow situation is going to be like, what a day-to-day world is going to be like, and doing everything associated with that, from making sure they're invested properly to accomplish their objectives, making sure that their spending is in line with what they will have to spend, that they're not going to run out of money, making sure that they're keeping up with their financial planning, making sure as far as estate planning and tax planning, and really keeping them on track for the rest of their lives. And that's a constant ongoing process that, as grandchildren are born or other things happen in their lives, that they can adjust to it and that they know how to adjust to it and feel comfortable and don't have to worry for the rest of their lives. That's the most important part.
And after the deal is closed, business decisions may not always end, right? So depending, as we spoke before, the deal structure, depending on the deal structure, there may be post-closing obligations for the business owner, right? Some owners remain involved. They can be involved in an advisory position, or they can become a part-time employee, or they have some performance earn-out, or they become a minority shareholder. There's a variety of ways that they can be involved. And especially if sales proceeds are deferred, right? So it is important for them to remain engaged. And once that involvement is over and they finally transition away, one very important and sometimes overlooked aspect is that sometimes for some business owners, fully disengaged can be hard, right? And we always recommend to plan a personal transition, right? For example, we had a client that for them, detachment was relatively hard, but what really helped was to have a clear planning on the post-exit involvement. Think of a clearly defined job description with a clearly defined timeline, right? So we helped structure that for them so that this clearly defined role and timeline provided a clarity that they needed in this post-involvement. So it really helped them manage their expectations and smoothly transition away. Right?
So, yeah, it was more of a glide path rather than an abrupt end.
Exactly. So, and they already saw the end through the lenses of that position. And so the takeaway is basically that planning the personal transition after the business exit sometimes is as important as the business exit itself.
Yep.
So to wrap it up, we understand now that an exit plan is not just a single transaction. It is a multi-phased process involving the personal and the business planning. So Scott, if you had to put, three main takeaways from our conversation, what would you offer?
Really, I'd say it first and foremost, as we mentioned, plan. You don't start planning 6 months before you're ready to make a transaction. The sooner you can begin the planning, the more successful the transaction has a chance to be. Secondly is the planning happens on multi-levels. The business side and the personal side are deeply intertwined, and they're always going to be. You can't have one without the other. And finally, just really, this is the planning is a long term. The exit and everything, the actual sale may take a year, but the rest of your life is forever. Right. And so this is something that is going to be ongoing, and it just doesn't end when the transaction is complete. It's a lifelong journey.
So it's a very long prep, a very short and intense transaction, and a very long post-transaction.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.